Welcome everybody to the sixth episode of the Knights Sportsnet podcast. As you can see, some things look a little bit different. We got a little different setup, and we got a special guest with us today. Blake, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Blake Conkling. Probably a lot of y'all watching know me. I'm 20 years old. Work at Slam Dunk Sandwiches. Check us
You're
out.
20?
I will be 20. I consider myself 20 because it's less than a month. So
Dang it, bro.
yeah,
You're almost 2 years older than me. I
I'm
didn't know
old.
that.
Yeah, I'm old. A lot
Holy
of people.
moly.
I'm old. But
Golly, okay.
check out the squad. Slam Dunk. Check us out.
Yeah,
But
this
yeah,
this episode is brought to you by Slam Dunk Sandwiches in Oviedo, Florida. Go cop your sandwiches.
go check it out. Top best sandwich shop in Oviedo.
What's it on? Mitchell Hamlet?
East Redbud Lake Road across from the Oviedo Mall.
Gotcha. All right. Bet. Pretty much, Blake has been brought on here. Unfortunately, Hunter's not with us today. We're actually going to be FaceTiming him later in the episode. But Blake is here today to give us a few of his thoughts on not only UCF's play, but also Oklahoma's play.
Yeah.
So with that, why don't we just dive right in
Go right in. All
and
right.
get started?
All right.
So let's talk about Oklahoma for a little bit.
Okay.
Before we get to UCF, because this is the UCF podcast, we're going against Oklahoma, sixth ranked team in the country.
Yeah, sixth in the country.
Sixth in the country, number one in the Big 12, and we're 13th in the Big 12. So what you having your knowledge on Michigan, that's where your heart
Yeah,
that's
where I'm from.
that's where your heart and soul lies.
Lies there. Yep.
Right. What are your thoughts on Oklahoma firsthand going into this game?
Well, I mean, they throw the ball very well. They got great pass protection. Dylan Gabriel's only been sacked 5 times through their first 6 games. They're undefeated, and I believe, off the top of my head, I can't remember if he got sacked against Texas, which is to this day their best win. Probably, arguably the best win in the country.
Easily.
They won in Texas, and it was the Red River, but still in Texas. But they throw the ball very well. They don't tend to run a lot. Dylan Gabriel, I don't want to call him a system quarterback just because, I mean, I hate labeling that on people, but I would consider him similar to Stetson Bennett just
Okay.
with Georgia, just because.
Hunter's probably not going to
He's
hear
not going to like that. Yeah,
Hunter's not going to like
I'll
that.
hear from him later, but I would say just similar in the way that when Mackenzie Milton went down in, I think it was 2018 or 2019,
Yeah.
that's when UCF was at their peak, and then he stepped in for them. And, I mean, they didn't completely fall off, but they kind of took a step back. But now you notice he got hurt last year, which is why Oklahoma was as poor as they were last year. And he's been here this year. It's the first Red River game he played in. Look forward to it pretty much his whole career when he came to Oklahoma. And, I mean, he's just flourishing in Brent Venables' system. So
Yeah.
I would say somewhat a system quarterback, but also just, I mean, it's going to take talent to throw for 400 yards and multiple touchdowns against a still very good Texas team. They're also a very good Oklahoma team. They would still be my sleeper playoff pick, but
Yeah.
Oklahoma is just obviously very good defensive front because Brent Venables is former defensive coordinator, so
Yeah.
their defense is very good, I would say, for a base.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Yeah, their defense, to be honest with you, is very good. And I think my concern really with the defense, no, sorry. Yeah, their defense, our offense is word on the street is that JRP might be back in the lineup. I heard some sources say that, but at the same time,
I would say that yes, he played last week versus Kansas. Did I think he should have played last week versus Kansas? No.
Nope.
Played very poor, partially because he was still injured. Still don't know why Gus played him. I'm not sure, but if he plays next week, I mean, he's had a whole week to recover. He didn't really play a lot versus Kansas, just because. I mean, you could see he was still aggravating his injury, hurting his injury. So, but if he plays and he's healthy, I mean, that'll be a huge factor in how UCF plays overall because they'll need his best game to have a shot in this game.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I think the biggest things about Oklahoma's defense, in my opinion, I'm not like some sports nerd like Hunter is or like you. I was the kicker, but
I didn't play football. You played football. So
no, that's true.
You got a little bit more background about it.
A tad bit. I mean, but my thing is, just from what I see, very proactive defense. Very, I mean, the saying is it's either proactive or reactive.
Yeah.
And what I see out of Oklahoma's defense is they're a very proactive defense. They're very good at reading the run. They're very good at reading the
Yeah.
pass. And one thing that we've been saying on this podcast is UCF has, there are times where they're a little too predictable.
Yeah.
And that's my issue. Is one of my issues with Timmy McClain. I mean, I'm not really opposed to Timmy McClain, to be honest with you. I mean, a lot of the
No.
UCF fan base blames him. I don't really think it's his fault.
But I don't. I never like to blame the quarterback unless he turns the ball over 6 times in a game, or that's hypothetical. But like, unless he turns it over a lot, like Josh Allen this week 1 turned the ball over 4 times
Yeah.
against the Jets and they lost. So like, I don't like depending on the quarterback, but at the end of the day, coaching, quarterback, line,
Coaching.
receivers,
Right. It's,
very well could be the coaching. Speaking of the play calling against Kansas last week, I had a lot of people tell me they disagreed with it.
no, you're right. It was.
Threw the ball, I think.
It wasn't just Kansas though.
Yeah.
It was. It's been an issue all season.
Yeah.
But like what I was saying though, like I think the only thing is with McClain is he's a little indecisive. But it's just the question is our lack of unpredictability, like, is that going to be an issue against Oklahoma's very
Yeah.
proactive defense?
And it's like they're a proactive defense because, like I said, Brent Venables was a defensive coordinator. I can't think of where off the top of my head, but I know he was a defensive coordinator before he was head coach of Oklahoma. So he's got a bunch of different defensive schemes,
Right.
coverages, man-to-man zone, whatever. Like,
Yeah,
he's
he
got a
knows.
bunch of stuff because he knows it. He was one, so
Exactly. Yeah.
he
No.
knows what he's doing.
Right. Yeah. What do you think? Yeah, honestly, man.
Yeah.
But we will see, to be honest with you. I mean, I think Hunter had mentioned that JRP should come back after this week.
I would agree.
Yeah, I would
We were
agree
off a
too.
bye. Well, actually, I don't think we were off on a bye last week. That's
No,
right.
we had a bye last
We had a
week.
bye. They both did. Oklahoma.
I think we play West Virginia's home
Next
game.
Virginia's next.
Yeah,
But-
he should play that.
So he's had 2 weeks to recover from JRP has since Kansas. So if he played in Kansas, he's probably a lot better now
Maybe.
because we've had 2 weeks to recover since. I did not realize I had a bye. I'm not gonna lie to you. I
No,
apologize.
it's all good. It's all
I
good.
apologize.
Nah. Yes. Yes, they're very quick, very proactive. They had a rough start against Iowa State. Like Iowa State was able to keep up with them for a little bit.
Yeah.
I think really, to be honest with you, after watching it back again, I mean, it was just some minor errors. Just I don't know his name off the top of my head, but number 2 in the defense, he actually had a pick in that game. But then there were 2 plays afterward where I don't know if he got a little too hyped from that pick, but he actually jumped the route way too soon,
Yeah.
and then that opened up. It was 2 times. I think it was an inside post. The guy ran right down the field and scored.
Yeah.
But once they fixed that, then they didn't. Iowa State
Yeah.
didn't score anymore,
Iowa
and
State
then
didn't score.
Oklahoma got.
And you got to think on the
30
year,
points.
Dylan Gabriel's been very good about taking care of the ball too, like not turning it over.
Absolutely.
He's got 2 on the year, 2 interceptions on the year through 6 games, and that was one of them as you just mentioned. So it's gonna be a little tough for UCF to try and get their offense back on the field, considering they only got 4 on the year.
Yeah.
Secondary's only got 4 picks on the year, which is a little on the low side, but I mean, if Dylan Gabriel, you never know, pressure of playing UCF again, first time since he's transferred, so.
But I don't think there's no way he's feeling that much pressure.
Yeah,
though.
and
'Cause-
especially if the game is in Oklahoma, but I mean,
exactly. That's
you
like,
never know.
yeah, but that's the best, in my opinion, to be honest with you. Like I would say that's probably top 3, maybe top 5 fan bases. Of all
UCF?
college football. No, Oklahoma.
Oh, for
No,
sure.
definitely not
For sure, as good as they are. As good as
I wish
they
I could
are,
say UCF, but we're not
Yeah.
there yet. We're not there yet. I think we need a new stadium first.
I would, yeah.
But-
I would agree.
yeah.
But I would definitely say as good as Oklahoma is, it's going to be loud in there, no doubt.
No, yeah. And I think he's going to be, I don't know. The thing is about Dylan Gabriel, like, he's a very talented quarterback.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
he's got this, I don't know how to say it, like a passion really that not many quarterbacks have in this day and age. I mean, when we were both growing up, and even or just however long
Yeah.
football's been around,
Dude.
quarterbacks are known to be calm.
Yeah.
Calm, not very loud, not very amped up. But
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel's one of those guys
Oh,
that'll lead the charge.
He will lay it out there for
Yeah.
sure.
The only quarterback that I can think of off the top of my head from the NFL within the past like 10, 15 years who was like that was Drew Brees. I mean, maybe some other examples, but he's
Off
got
the top of the head. I
yeah,
would say Drew Brees as well.
yeah, but he's got that personality, he's got that toughness, he's got that grit, and that ultimately is why Oklahoma
Yeah.
is sixth in the nation.
Because he just plays with his whole heart. He puts it all out there. Like, especially against Texas, you could tell. They scored that last touchdown. They took the lead with about 13 seconds left. And dude was
He's going crazy.
put it all out there.
Absolutely. That's what a competitor is supposed to do in a conference like the Big 12.
Right.
And in the Red River game,
Red River showed on one of the biggest rivalries in the nation.
Yeah.
Nation college football as a whole. Like, yeah.
For sure.
But Michigan, Ohio State, it's a little up there, a little better. I'm sure Hunter would argue Georgia, Florida's better, but never know. Georgia rolls them every year.
We could have some hot takes.
We could have some hot takes with rivalries, yeah. But
yeah. Yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, another thing is, I mean, I'd love to get your thoughts on this because you kind of brought up pressure with Dylan Gabriel playing against UCF. UCF, I mean, he thrived at UCF.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Gus Malzahn for a second, because I have it on my. I recently just found out that.
Got signed an extension.
Well, not that. I'm saying he actually lost to Oklahoma in the Sugar Bowl, 2016.
Yes.
35-19.
With Auburn, right?
With Auburn.
With Auburn. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious to know, what kind of pressure he's feeling.
I mean, for one, he's with a completely different football program now, but SEC, Big 12 now, AAC, Big 12, whatever. It's a different culture kind of for him, just because of the team he's on, team he's coaching now. It's Auburn and UCF are two very different programs.
Yeah.
When we're talking about it, UCF beat Auburn. Sure, let's talk about
it.
Hey,
we mentioned that earlier.
We mentioned it earlier. Let's talk about it. UCF Auburn, but I mean, I know for me personally, like always playing a team that like I formerly played for or I lost to and I'm playing again. Like when I was playing sports in high school, it was always like just feeling that pressure of, oh crap, I gotta beat these guys, or oh, like it's just the pressure of we lost last time and now I want to just beat the snot out of them just because. So I'm sure he's definitely feeling some sort of pressure just because we lost to him. He's like, he wants to get back. So on some level, I'm sure there's pressure on both sides, especially with UCF's coach. And I mean, you kind of denied it, but I would say Dylan Gabriel just because it's UCF, even if it is in Oklahoma. He was a former starting quarterback for UCF's program a couple years ago. So
yeah,
still in some level. Might be a different head coach now that UCF's got from Josh Heupel. But yeah. I'm still sure on some level he's like, all right, it's first time playing. I'm back since I transferred, so
yeah,
probably wants to get back. I don't know just get back on.
No, you're right.
Just for bragging rights,
right.
just to say, yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, no. For me, like if I'm in Dylan Gabriel's position, I have this swagger going into the game because it's like this is my team. Like this is who I played, and now I get
the chance to just
exactly
take it from
in my own arena,
right?
But it's like but it's like
now
this wasn't just any transfer. I think this was UCF to Oklahoma.
Oh, for sure.
That's a huge upgrade.
Yeah.
Like compared to some other transfers.
Yeah.
But
on a side note, I'm a little confused what he did with his transfer that year. He went from UCF, now he's transferring UCLA, and then like. What was it, like 3 days, a week later?
Yeah.
He was like, I'm leaving UCLA. Yeah. I'm going to go to, like...
yeah, he decided to go.
I was like,
he decided to go that quickly, bro.
Okay.
But that was a good move.
Yeah, it was a great move, because
now he's Heisman candidate?
Yeah. UCLA, I'd like to say, is more of a basketball school. Oklahoma is definitely a football school. I definitely feel it's a better move, because, I mean, you can see right now, Oklahoma's doing much better than UCLA is. So, I think on his part, it's a smart move, not just a money move, because who cares really about that?
Yeah.
If I'm playing, I play for the love of the game. I don't play for money.
That's good.
As long as I want to, I want to keep having fun. I want to be able to make a living for myself. But at the end of the day, I just want to play to have fun.
Of course. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, so I would love to hear some of the notes that you have on the sheet. Because you
Um,
mentioned to me that some
so
notes that UCF can do.
so one thing UCF gets kind of a little help on with their secondary. Obviously, it still has to be better playing with a very good Oklahoma team. UCF's top or not UCF, Oklahoma's his top receiving yard receiver, Andrew Anthony. They have another guy, I think his name is Nick Anderson. He's
Nick
a
Anderson.
touchdown.
Yeah.
This guy, Andrew Anthony, led the team in receiving yards, hurt his knee against Texas. He's done for the year. So those guys are kind of top two for Oklahoma's receivers. So that's definitely going to help their secondary in a way, UCF secondary. Um, I would, yeah, it's going to be tough either way for them, but I would say that's definitely going to help the secondary. They got to Just Muslim's got to try and mix things up with that.
Yeah.
Their defensive front, I feel somewhat, kind of more confident in now that I've looked over. They got
UCF's defensive front?
yeah, their defensive front. They got defensive tackle John Walker, true freshman, named to the midseason All-American first team.
That's it. Okay.
14th ranked overall defensive tackle in the nation, which
Wow.
there's a lot of defensive tackles. There's over 130 teams in the nation, and just college football as a whole, and to be ranked 14th out of all of them,
No, that's
especially
insane.
as a freshman.
As a freshman, right? Yeah.
That's definitely some guy Oklahoma's going to want to look out for. So
It's like
get a sack or two from him. You
Yeah.
know, mix up some secondary schemes, zone, man. I didn't watch too much, but I'm pretty sure Dylan Gabriel's a lot of other quarterbacks would flourish in play action. So switch up coverages, confuse him a little bit.
Okay.
It's one thing Jim Knowles at Ohio State does very well. Mixes up defensive schemes, makes it look like he's doing man and he's really doing zone, so it confuses defenses. I'm sure maybe Gus Muslim's got some stuff in there. He's definitely got something different in his bag, especially he's playing as good a team as Oklahoma is. So
yeah,
I would definitely say improve secondary, defensive line. In my after seeing this guy, like he's got help, but he's definitely going to be their star, that biggest threat. We're going to need a big game from him to help.
Yeah.
Step up pressure Dylan Gabriel a little bit because you watch Oklahoma, he's got all the time in the world to throw. Their pass protection is
absolutely
unbelievable. So definitely going to need a big game from John Walker.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. That's honestly, I didn't even know that John Walker.
I just found that out.
All-American.
Like, they just announced the midseason All-American because, we're kind of the halfway point of the season right now. So they just announced like midseason All-Americans for just regular and then true freshmen. So
yeah,
they just announced actually a couple of days ago. I was like, I'll mention that, throw that in there because that's definitely going to help UCF out.
Yeah, for sure. I think they're going to need that because one thing that I've noticed, I was talking about proactiveness and reactiveness earlier in the episode. One issue, and me and Hunter have talked about this several times on podcasts. Hunter pointed it out way before I did, but our defensive line has been probably, I would want to say I'd be more confident, but it's probably one of our weak points on defense. I think if we can, because the thing is like we've kind of had issues with like us. Especially since we started non-conference games, not really, but like Big 12 games, our defensive line has had a tough job of like out strengthening the O line, and we have already talked about Oklahoma's pass protection.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of it with losing that battle in the trenches is just a mental thing.
Yeah,
like a big.
That's very true.
For me personally, like I ran track my last 2 years of high school, TMA. Big thing for me was when I was a big thing for me when I was lining up was just all in my head. Like I would get in my head a lot, even before, and even especially when I lined up. Like that was just a big thing. I always got in my head. So a big thing for just UCF as a whole, especially this being their first year in the Big 12, is mentally they just got to get over it. What I would do is just you got to think you're better than the dude straight up.
You do.
Like
you absolutely do.
A big part of the first part of sports and just anything in general is you got to think you're better than the dude. Be the best version of yourself and go out there.
Yeah.
So
No, yeah, that's
I think
mental.
that's definitely playing a factor in UCF's lack of aggressiveness and strength in their defensive line and just offensive line as well. Just line of scrimmage as a whole.
Yeah. I think, I mean, it's really good you say that, because I think with this game, like, it is going to be a mental game if we're just being totally honest. Like, I mean, physically speaking, like, this is Oklahoma and this is UCF. Like,
Yeah.
we have talent in UCF. I'm not saying we don't have talent. I'm just saying and we've noticed this. Like with teams like KU,
sure.
like, you know, those players are built different and those players, like, they train differently. And so you know, OU's line is probably the biggest line out there, like, or one of the biggest lines out there.
OU, Michigan,
Yeah.
Georgia.
So, some of these big schools, right?
Yeah.
And that UCF has really, you know, we've not completely gotten soaked into that. But what I would say is, you know, mental game is huge, and I think with that, it's not necessarily, maybe it doesn't have to be like, because I mentioned last episode, okay, yes, our guys have not been as strong, but maybe it doesn't even have to be about strength. Maybe it just needs to be about speed. Like one against Iowa State, I think when I was watching the highlights, the only play where I saw anybody get even close to touching Dylan Gabriel was, I think, the defensive end, like making a quick, like, in and out move on the left tackle, and he actually almost got to him. Now Gabriel got it off in time, but still, that sudden move, like, maybe it's not about strength, maybe
quickness,
it's about
and quickness for, especially for defensive linemen. Like, I'll throw out a pro example. He's a second-year player, Aiden Hutchinson. Of course, he's from Michigan. I'm gonna shout him out. Look up and do a lot, but like, he's not the biggest defensive lineman out there. But his moves, agility, the way he just moves, like with his arms and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's his quickness that he's able to get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Pressured Mahomes a lot when they played the Chiefs, and just in general, every game I've watched him, he pressures the quarterback a lot just because of the way he's able to get there quick.
Yeah.
It's his quickness and reaction time to compared to other linemen he goes against.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, defense is it's been a struggle this year, but I'm hoping that we can put up a good fight. Do you have any other thing you want to note?
I mean, I saw you guys posted it the other day. UCF's offense, they fourth in the nation, 516.7 yards a game. That 0.7 is crucial. You gotta throw in those little details.
Gotta throw in those little
details.
The little decimal numbers.
Sometimes those decimal numbers make the difference between first and second. As a track runner, I know that very well.
It's such a good point. I didn't think about that.
Well.
Holy moly.
Especially as a sprinter, very well.
You could even go, kicking as well, like the snap. That matters.
Snap, placement of the ball, all that, when you put your foot on it.
Bro, they strict on that. Like, it's gotta be, what's, oh, yeah, when okay, this is gonna sound weird, but when they snap it back, it's gotta be like under 0.69 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, that's actually crazy.
The details.
But yeah, fourth in the nation in total yards, but they got to translate it to points. They're,
of course,
with their top four in yards, but when you look at how many points they put up a game, they still put up 35. They're averaging 35 points a game on the year, but it ranks 27th in the nation. When you put that in perspective to how many yards they have, or where they rank in yards per game, doesn't really add up. Because that's like saying, I'm going to start a regular drive at my own 25, and I'm going to march down to the first and goal to 3, but I'm going to come up short and just come up with a field goal, or even get stopped if I try and go for it on fourth down. Like,
gotcha.
You gotta translate it down to touchdowns instead of just field goals. Because if I got first and goal at the 1 or second and goal at the 1, if I'm at the 1 and it's blank and goal, like, I gotta get in the end zone. Especially if I'm at the 1 or inside the 1 yard line.
Of course.
Eagles in the NFL do that better than anybody I've seen in a minute. Just propel Jalen Hurts in there, QB sneak 90, 92, 93% of the time it works. So it's just bottom line is just translating it into touchdowns instead of field goals. Because with that many yards, you'd think, we put up a ton of points, which 35 points a game is still a sizable amount.
It's a hefty amount.
It's a hefty amount, yeah. But with how many yards, they just got to be able to put more points.
Of course. Absolutely.
So I would say that's another thing is capitalizing when you get in the red zone.
We've talked about that too. That is, oh my gosh, that's been a painful topic.
Yeah.
Especially against Boise State. That was a,
Yep.
oh my gosh.
Boise State.
That
I didn't
was,
watch the game, but I saw
oh my
that
gosh.
Colton Boomer kick about 40 times. But
Oh,
they,
that dude was a Superman on that
oh,
day.
absolutely, Colton Boomer MVP all the way. I'm for it.
Yeah, he's going to the league. I know he's missed the last few kicks, but he's still going to the league.
Throw him in that non-QB Heisman. Non-QB Heisman finalist. Throw him in there. He's pretty good. I'll give him that.
Yeah, bro.
But
Anyways, so it's currently 9:03. You think it's appropriate to?
should we bring in our guy?
I think
We try and bring in our guy.
I think we need to bring him in.
I'll try. We'll see.
Call him up. He's at Ben's house right now with a bunch of other
Like
dudes.
call him or face.
Let's do face.
Oh, let's do face.
Let's do face. So we could see. Okay, yeah, no, it's important.
We'll do it for you guys so you can see him.
Hopefully, bro picks up because we talked about this before the episode.
Yep. All right. Here, I'll give you the answers.
Okay.
Let you say what up.
He's not gonna pick up, and he's gonna call like 2 minutes later.
Technology, everyone. Come on.
Come on, pick up the phone, man.
Oh. All right. Well.
Hey.
Oh.
Yeah, if he calls again, then we'll pick up.
And we'll see. But
All right. Yeah, I think we've covered some good stuff.
good amount.
Yeah.
But definitely, yeah. I mean, just the bottom line for Gus as a whole has got to be better because you make plays like that against. I mean, again, given they hardly got the ball in the first half against Kansas, they ran it like 15 times total. They threw it 10 or 12 times. Like that's not a lot of plays ran.
Yeah.
27 plays compared to Kansas probably ran a lot more. They put a lot of points on the board in the first half, so just got to make better calls, better decisions. Obviously, because the coach, part of it's execution.
Yeah.
Coach can call a perfect play, but if you don't execute well, like develop a game plan, but if you don't execute well, then it's the point of making a game plan. Like,
Of course. Yeah. No, you're right.
so
Hitting the nail on the head right there. I mean, I've literally the majority of the people who I've talked to have been like, yeah, Gus moves on. But you can't complain because I mean he's got an extension.
He's
Like,
got an extension,
what can you
yeah.
do?
and a lot of people disagree with that extension. I'm not gonna say I'm one of them, but definitely. But yeah, Oklahoma is gonna be this test already. They don't play Texas, so
I really wish we
I
could
really
have played
wish
Texas.
I really wish they would have given us both of them, just because
Yes.
they're going to the SEC next year.
Texas is going with SEC?
They both are. Oklahoma, Big.
They both are?
They both are going. And then
What?
we get to play, potentially we'll get to play Coach Prime next year.
Yes.
Coach Prime in Colorado is coming to
Yes.
the Big 12.
I am so
I'm excited.
happy for that. If anything, we should be hosting them because
If
they're
Coach
the
Prime
newcomers.
comes to Orlando, I will be there.
Yeah,
I will be there.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Everybody needs to be there.
Everybody needs to be. That's a
It's
sold out
It's
game.
Coach Prime.
right?
It's Coach Prime.
Yeah, it's Coach Prime. But
The video that had, did you see the video where the kicker, it was a few weeks ago, the kicker, I think it was ASU, the kicker made the field goal, and then Dion was like telling him to dance.
I don't know if Colorado their blow versus Stanford last week was. I gotta say, it was up 29-0 at halftime. I was like, oh, they won.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I looked and it was like, they lost, and I was like, come on now. I'm Deion Sanders. I'm a pretty chill coach, but I'm like, that's the line for me.
Yeah. No, I'd be ticked off, to be honest with
You compare Dylan Gabriel's turnover rate to Shadier Sanders. Shadier Sanders is throwing a nation high 30, or not 34. Shadier Sanders is top 5, I believe, in interceptions, just because of, I mean, his O line is not very great. So he doesn't have a lot of time, but he's thrown, I think, top 5 in the nation in interceptions. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. I do know he's been sacked the most in the nation. 34 times compared to I think I said 5 sacks when compared for Dylan Gabriel. So,
Wow.
O-line, your O-line, and I don't know if I've said this, but how you win a football game is really how your line, both on offense and defense. If you can win the battle of the trenches, you most likely will win that football game.
You're preaching to the choir.
And that is why Georgia and Michigan have been so successful the past 2 years. Their line has been great. Georgia's taken a step back this year. I'm biased, so I'm not going to say the same for Michigan, but taking a step back. So I mean, again, biggest part of winning the game is you got to win the line of scrimmage.
Of course.
On defense, you want to sack the quarterback. On offense, you want to protect your quarterback. So
yeah. The New York Giants, because I'm a Giants fan. I'm a lot more into UCF, trust me. But like,
I would be too. Giants are rough this year.
Number one issue, and this is why we're like 1-5.
1-5, yep.
Because everything gets through to Daniel Jones. Literally everything.
Like, given his line, he's got like a second or two to throw the ball.
Exactly.
Like, still,
he's got nothing. They're letting everything through.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, y'all need to move your feet, get your hands up.
Again, speed of linemen.
Yeah,
like it's just
we can't win football games with no pass protection.
Mm-hmm. And not putting it on the line, they play a big part. But receivers can't be dropping wide open passes if you're in college and the NFL. Watched a lot of NFL this weekend, and I saw a couple drop passes, which I'm a pro. I shouldn't see that at all, especially on a coach. Still has not come back. I guess we will not hear from our pal.
I think you try again.
Unfortunately, I will try.
ASAP.
Oh, we got him. What's up?
Hey, buddy. How you doing? What up, Jeff?
I'm very slightly preoccupied right now. We'll try to get a hold of him.
Slightly preoccupied there? They're cutting it out. Let's say hi to everybody. Yeah, he's here. He's just not physically with us.
No, we got all three of us.
Yeah. By the way, Blake said something earlier that probably is not going to sit well.
What did I say?
Something about Stetson Bennett.
I said a couple things about Georgia, but
not too much though.
Not too much.
Not too much.
I didn't thrash him too much. But.
Not too much.
Hey, at least my team's not caught up in the NCAA investigation.
All right.
I didn't bring that up.
We're gonna get something from that.
I didn't bring that up.
My team's about to get a little bowl ban or something's gonna happen from. I'm not even 100% sure what they did, but
I got something about using illegal. I don't know.
We're about to be the Astros of college football.
Houston Astros. Anyways, we could get into some predictions, but I called you because
I want to hear from you what you think about this game.
Yeah, what do you think about this game before we go into any hot takes or anything like that? We only got like a few more minutes left.
Okay, so as far as this game goes, this is a game that like nobody's expecting us to win, which is valid, obviously.
Fair.
And so I think it's more of a game where UCF has a lot to learn and to prove. They have an opportunity to show everybody what they can do, and not so much on the negative since they've had such a down past few weeks.
Right.
But ultimately, this game is up to them if they want to play the game or not. Oklahoma's going to play regardless. UCF comes in the game lackluster, they're gonna get a game that's lackluster.
That's very well said, honestly. I didn't think of that. Like the fact that they could actually learn a lot from this game.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think of that perspective.
It's a big proving point for them. I mean, given it's their first year in the Big 12, but it's a big proving point. Even if they lose, like you lose close, you learn something. You played a very, very good Oklahoma team. Like they could very well be in the playoffs and play in the national
Right.
championship game. They're that good, but like it's a big learning point from them just because they're new in a Power 5 conference, a very good Big 12 conference. So
Yeah.
it's a learning point for them for sure.
Yeah. And I did mention in the last episode that like this is like the actual real test. Like I feel like the past few Big 12 games, I mean, at least two of them are winnable in my opinion.
Baylor was definitely.
Baylor,
Definitely should have walked
Ba-
away with
Baylor,
that.
and KSU were definitely winnable. KU maybe not, but regardless, like this is the actual real deal test. And I think Hunter, you said it perfectly. Like Oklahoma's gonna play no matter what. Like they're gonna show up no matter what. It's just are we gonna match that?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's a matter of who wants it more. Because, like I said, you brought up what I said about how Oklahoma's going to play regardless. If UCF even shows remotely that they want to play, they could make some noise, and everybody might pay attention to them a little bit more, and not focus so much on the lead that they blew and how they keep losing to these Big 12 teams, and everybody thinks that they're a joke in the Big 12 in their first year. So, I mean, like I said, it's up to them.
Yeah.
Like, no one's expecting anything from them, and that's good. Like, you have a lot that you can prove.
You can prove, yeah.
Everybody else.
It's a big proving game for them.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I totally agree. I will say, we only have like maybe 3 to 5 minutes left. Because I gotta keep disc space in mind. Why don't we go into predictions real quick?
Y'all can go first. I'll go last. Y'all got
Did you hear me?
Yeah,
we'll let the man on the phone go first.
Yeah.
Hunter, you're welcome to start us out.
I think you should start us out.
I mean, I was going to let the guest go first. I mean,
Actually, it is customary to let the guest go first.
All right. All right. Spread. OU's favored by 17.5. We'll call it 18. Opened at 18.
It's 17 right now?
It's 17.5 right now. 17.5 over under of 67, which I don't think Oklahoma can cover that. I don't think Oklahoma will cover that.
Okay.
I don't think they will. That's some might call it a bold prediction. If I had to put a number on it, I'll say it'll either be, we'll say Oklahoma. I'll give them 38, and I'll give UCF. UCF's gonna cover, but they're not gonna win, unfortunately. But I'll say Oklahoma 38, UCF 27.
Okay. Oklahoma 38, UCF 27. That's not bad. Okay. That would be like, to be honest with you, like that would be.
I'm gonna take the under on the over under 67, and I don't think OU will cover.
Okay.
Those are my two things, and then my score.
Gotcha. That's valid, to be honest with you. But if that happens, because you got people saying that we're gonna lose by 60.
Yeah. I was texting one of my buddies, Elijah Evans.
Elijah Evans, shout out.
A little frustrated in the time of the KU game, I could tell. Predicted UCF to get blown out by 70, and I don't think it's not Oregon and Portland State in the first game of the year where Oregon hung 81-16. I don't think it'll be like that. It's not gonna be that bad. But I do think UCF will cover that 17.5. I do think it'll cover, show a little light on UCF. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Hunter, Mr. Bach, do you have your prediction?
Okay, so one thing that we do know about Oklahoma is that, their quarterback has his name nationally out there. And partially so with the performance he put up against Texas, and with that Heisman contention, he's just going to keep slinging it. And you also have to play in the factor that he's playing against his former team, and so that might be a little fire to him as well, along with the crowd in Norman, Oklahoma. And their offense is just rolling right now, and I don't. I mean, we've talked constantly over the course of this season so far about UCF's defense, and as much as I want to trust them, I can't trust them as much in this game, especially. They could prove me wrong. Like I said, this is a game to do so. So, because I don't think the defense can hold up, I'm gonna go with Oklahoma 45, and I'll give UCF 24. 3 touchdowns and a field goal.
Okay. 45-24? Okay.
3 touchdowns.
So somewhere similar to where Blake's is, but I just don't think that UCF's defense can really do that much. I think that Oklahoma has some holes in their defense that UCF can't expose, but not enough to win the game.
Yeah. I think those holes are those holes you're talking about in the secondary?
Majority, yeah. They're big on the line and linebackers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I figured.
So if you can get Javon Baker and Kobe Hudson and Xavier Townsend to do what they do best, then you could get a couple touchdowns in. But like I said, the defense is the way that they've just crumbled at every chance. Like I can't trust them enough, especially against Oklahoma.
Especially if they crumble the way they did against Baylor. Like, especially if they play like they did against Baylor in that fourth quarter, it could get ugly.
Exactly.
It could get ugly.
If you play like that, like they did against Baylor, well, how can anybody trust you against Oklahoma?
Right.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're 100% right. Yeah. Yeah.
It can make us all look fools, but G, what's your prediction?
So, my prediction, I feel like the offense can definitely put up some points.
JRP's going to play a big factor.
If JRP, I hope JRP's back, to be honest with you, and fully healthy, but I don't know if he should play this week.
And I think it was Richardson.
Okay. I think if because UCF's running game is devastating right now, and
Almost not going to let that happen.
what's that?
I said Oklahoma's line, the defensive line.
But I mean,
compared to UCF's O-line, though, they're not giving them a lot of time.
that's true. But I mean, I don't know. I think
just take the opportunities that they're given.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. I mean, they could be doing a lot of homework on UCF's rushing, but I think I feel like UCF might have a good chance, like their rushing game, if they get the good rotation going between Richardson and Harvey. But I mean, we could agree to disagree on that, but I'm not gonna. Anyways, I will say, I'll go UCF. I'll go UCF maybe 17. It's like a little lower than.
Both of us said.
Yeah. UCF 17, Oklahoma 40.
I have a bold prediction.
You have a bold prediction. What's your bold prediction?
So UCF first play of the game, deep ball, tutty. That's my bold prediction. They're gonna come out swinging.
Who's gonna be catching it? There's one obvious answer.
I'm gonna go with Baker. Baker's a deep ball. If he can get open, if he gets
See?
open, it's over.
What about Huddy?
I
Huddy.
talked about before. Me analyzing the receivers.
That's true.
Baker just makes one move, he can get past him.
What about, remember that flea flicker that they did with Kobe Hudson though against KSU? What just happened? Did you sneeze?
You mess with the lights.
Oh.
Yes, you do make a point, but like we've slot, and then
Yeah.
Javon Baker's the deep threat. Townsend's or Hudson, excuse me, Hudson's more of the physical, so he can go inside and outside. But I think Hudson creates a distraction while Javon Baker does one quick release off the ball and run a straight. He might run a post.
Mm.
That's my thing. That's my bold prediction.
You're you're the former wide receiver, so we have to trust your word.
We'll trust the wide receiver. Trust the words of a wide receiver.
But I think, to be honest with you, I can honestly see us doing that. I'm being completely honest. Like, why not? Like, this is the biggest game in UCF history.
Yeah, if I had to
they can
say,
either just open up their playbook completely, or they can play it safe and just try to play the games they've been playing.
Let's not play it safe, because
no,
let's try something different. I like that. I like that. Deep ball threat on the first play of the game. I like
if I
that.
had to say
No
something,
one has expectations. They're not expected to win the game. Just go out and play ball.
No, you're right. What do you have to say?
I would say this being UCF's biggest test, I don't know, in the history of their program. Could be first year in the Big 12, playing number 6 ranked team in the country. I would say maybe Gus makes some changes to the secondary. Maybe I'll throw it out there. Say Dylan Gabriel throw 2 picks. UCF will return them both. Not return them. They'll get the ball back. This is a probably bold take, more than his, scorching hot, whatever you want to say. I'll say Dylan Gabriel turns the ball over twice. UCF converts both those into touchdowns. That's what I'll say. Call me crazy.
Okay.
It's bold, scorching hot. Probably more than his,
I love that
that's what I'm gonna
confidence,
say.
though, in UCF defense. That's the
I'm just
confidence
saying,
that we
It's the
need.
biggest test of their probably program, so maybe they got some tricks up their sleeve none of us have seen.
I will add, I think Dylan Gabriel, because I think if you compare our defense to Iowa State's defense and Texas defense, I think Dylan Gabriel.
I would say you could compare it to Iowa State, Texas.
Well, I'm saying, no, what I'm saying is between Iowa State and Texas, we're definitely more like Iowa State, 100%. And Dylan Gabriel threw a lot of deep balls against Iowa State, so I feel like Dylan Gabriel is gonna have a lot of confidence to throw the ball downfield.
Oh, absolutely.
What are your thoughts on that?
Like I said, Dylan Gabriel is very familiar with the scheme, so he knows what to expect. And let's be honest, it's like, I forget who it was, but they were talking. I think it was when this was NFL when Ezekiel Elliott was on the Patriots, and they were like, oh, when the Patriots play against the Cowboys, Ezekiel is gonna recognize the signs and be able to tell you, sort of thing. I think that Dylan Gabriel knows, or is very familiar with the different schemes that UCF runs on defense because he used to go against them in practice, so he knows what to expect and to what look out for.
Yeah, he's got a different coach now, but I mean, part of that's probably still true.
So, boys, we have our predictions.
I'm the only one that had UCF covering.
I think so.
Y'all really think he's gonna be that far?
Just through what we've seen with the defense, though, like
Yeah.
I like.
You gotta have faith in your squad, though. Biggest game of the year. You think they'll switch something up? You gotta have faith in your squad, though.
I don't know. We could. We probably. I mean, we had a week off. We probably did switch some stuff up, but it's a trust issue though. Like, because earlier in the season, I said UCF's defense was solid. Like, first episode, I came out and was like, yeah, UCF's defense was underrated last year. Blah blah blah. Hunter was disagreeing with me the entire time, but just didn't want to blatantly say it.
Yeah.
But it took me. It took me 4 games to finally realize that, Hunter.
Yeah.
And then we talked about it on the 4th episode, I think.
Well, that's
4th or 3rd.
As a Georgia fan, he's going to compare his defense, UCF's defense, to Georgia's elite defense. That's just my way. I think I'd say it.
Hunter's got a smile on his face.
Go blue. Go blue, baby.
Georgia versus Michigan on the UCF Night Sports Net podcast.
That could have happened last year, but one team had to lose to TCU. So.
All right, I'm gonna say this. I've said this before several times.
I think we blew up the team that beat Michigan.
Okay, we would have put them on the fight. 9 times out of 10, we would beat TCU. 9 times out of 10, we would have beaten TCU. That happened to be the one. And if Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't go down in that game, you guys lose. You had no answer for him. Had no answer. Stroud might have played the game of his life, and that's because of Marvin Harrison Jr. He didn't go down, you guys lose. Your elite defense didn't have an answer for him. That's what I'll say.
This is gonna turn into first take real fast.
Yeah, right? Call me Stephen A. Call him Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp?
Shannon Sharp, whatever you want to do. He's on that show now. Yeah.
Hey, I'd rather be Shannon Sharp than Stephen A. Smith. Have you seen that guy? Yeah, you can take Stephen A. Smith.
Hey, I'll take Stephen A. has my Lions as number 1 in the NFL right now.
I
I'll
like
take that.
I like Stephen A. because Stephen A. does not like the Cowboys, and I'm a Giants fan.
Bro, nobody likes the Cowboys.
No, but I'm like the Giants are like division rivals, so like
Yeah, I know.
yeah, we suck. I know.
1-5, 5-1, baby.
Yeah. Anyways, dang, this is a long episode. Yeah, I think that's all though. I mean, we covered pretty much a lot. We broke a lot of things down. I think that's a wrap, boys.
Yeah.
Well, everybody watching at home, I'm gonna get yeah, you know what? So you can see Hunter right now.
You can see all 3 of us.
Yeah.
My water might be empty, is my mistake.
I barely drank mine.
I'm thirsty.
There we go.
There we go.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching the 6th episode of the Knights Net Sportscast. Blake, thank you so much for coming through.
You're welcome.
Such
Thank
an
you
honor
for-
to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Of
Appreciate
course,
it.
of course,
It's an
of course. Anyways, stay tuned for more stuff to come through on Instagram. This will be out as of the time we're airing this, it's Thursday. This will be out definitely by tomorrow. On YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You already know the drill. Be big game ready. I know the game's not in Orlando, but be big game ready.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week's episode, homecoming week versus West Virginia. So we're excited. But anyways, that being said, we're signing it off on the Night Sportsnet podcast. Peace.